ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
Demand for the COVID-19 vaccine continues to outpace supply in San Diego County, but that could change. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. Our ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Dela Cruz explains why we may soon be desperately trying to convince people to get the shot.
Since the vaccine first came out in December, supply has been limited and appointments have been hard to secure.
We have pretty much had 100% uptake of all our available appointments.
Suzanne Shea is a vaccine coordinator for Sharp. She says while they're fully booked for now, that will eventually change.
It will drop off. We will see a drop off. I think the time to worry about vaccination hesitancy is always.
Many people who want the shot have already gotten it or are making their appointments now. Shea says later on, we may see appointments go unclaimed since some people still won't want them. Some sites that have been booked solid for months are already showing more openings. Wednesday morning, CVS pharmacies had available appointments in San Diego and other California cities. Kaiser Permanente had plenty of openings at their Convoy location next week. There are 2.6 million people aged 16 and older in San Diego County, all of which are now eligible for the vaccine. The county's goal is to fully vaccinate at least 75% of those adults. So far, 64% have had one dose, 41% are fully vaccinated. Sharp is working to educate their members and encourage more people to get the shot.
There may be a time where their friends and family who say, well, you're not vaccinated, so you're not invited to the party. I think that'll start to hit home.
Health officials say the vaccine not only protects you, but helps us all get closer to putting COVID-19 in the past.
Unless we reach that herd immunity of 75% or 80% of the population either being immune or vaccinated, we're not going to be back to, what we consider normal life anytime soon.
Jennifer Dela Cruz, ABC 10 News.
The county says it is still seeing a high demand for appointments at its sites. Leaders plan to continue fighting vaccine hesitancy through outreach and education.
California's coronavirus case rate is now the lowest in the continental United States. And here at home, the county reported 263 new cases today, while the test positivity rate fell back down to 2%. Another 7 San Diegans have lost their lives to COVID, bringing that total to just under 3,700.
Our move to the orange tier isn't necessarily translating to more people going back to our gyms. Our ABC 10 News reporter John Horn spoke to one gym owner with her doors and windows wide open.
Catcom is doing all she can to get people back inside Studio Sweat in Rancho Bernardo now that the county is in the orange tier.
25% gets us back to what we would consider a full class, and everybody still has these almost 8 to 10 foot workstations.
COM limits her sessions to 18 people, which, given the size of her studio, means she could fill her classes entirely under the current restrictions. But amid the pandemic, classes typically see attendance of 10 to 14 people.
And we're still struggling across the board in the fitness industry to get people back to their healthy place.
COM takes aim at the state easing capacity restrictions for retail and restaurants more so than gyms, saying it creates a chilling effect. County data shows potential exposure at gyms in 0.4% of COVID cases since last June. That percentage grows to 7.1% for bars and restaurants and 9.5% for retail. Plus, a new study from the British Journal of Sports Medicine says exercise was strongly associated with a reduced risk for severe COVID-19 outcomes.
I hope this study will change some minds and open up some thinking in our public health officials into what is important and what should we be trying to keep open and available.
I don't want to make anyone feel pressure to come back. I just want them to know that it is a good idea for them to come back on so many levels.
COM says she'll welcome everyone back, no judgment. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
The trade group, the California Fitness Alliance, is calling for 75% capacity at gyms in the orange tier. We have reached out to the state health department. We are waiting on their response.
SeaWorld has become the first Southern California theme park to welcome out-of-state visitors. The park is allowing non-Californians who are vaccinated. The orange tier limits theme parks to California residents only. But California public health officials this week quietly updated their guidelines to allow fully vaccinated out-of-state visitors. Legoland, Universal Studios, and Disneyland are sticking with their in-state visitors only for now. You can stay on top of any new developments with coronavirus by downloading the 10 News app. A free version is available in the App Store.
The events leading up to a deadly police shooting at Escondido are under investigation tonight. Escondido police responded this morning to reports of a man hitting cars with a metal pole near Broadway and 2nd. Police say the man was holding that large metal object when an officer shot and killed him. Investigators believe the man was homeless. The officer has not yet been named, but we're told that he's a veteran of the force. And about 24 protesters gathered this evening outside the Escondido Police Department to protest this morning's shooting. The organizer says they want transparency and accountability, and they believe the situation could have been de-escalated. People are also gathering tonight in North Park. This rally is also in response to the Escondido police shooting and the shooting of a teenager last night in Ohio. They're also celebrating yesterday's murder conviction of Derek Chauvin for the death of George Floyd.
And local civil rights activists are demanding government leaders take on police reform. ABC 10 News reporter Rena Nakano spoke to the president of the San Diego Police Officers Association, who says the profession is always evolving.
Unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
In the aftermath of former Minnesota police officer Derek Chauvin's murder conviction of George Floyd, local civil rights activists are speaking out.
Get proactive and pass this resolution now.
Shane Harris of the People's Association of Justice Advocates is now demanding local leaders to pass a resolution of the congressional George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. This would create an independent process to investigate police misconduct or excessive force, establish a federal registry of police misconduct complaints and disciplinary actions, grant funds to local agencies for anti-discrimination training programs, and prohibit no-knock warrants, chokeholds, carotid holds, among other things.
This federal law will challenge all local police departments to live up to their true standard, the one that we speak up on our cars, on our police cars every day, which is to protect and serve.
San Diego Police Officers Association President Jack Schaefer says in the Chauvin case, justice was served.
I trust our justice system. And it looks as though that, justice was served in this case.
In his more than 30-year career, Schaefer says he's seen many police reforms. Changes have already been implemented even locally since Floyd's death. In June, every law enforcement agency in the county banned the use of controversial carotid restraint. In November, San Diegans voted to have an independent body with subpoena powers to review police conduct. He anticipates more changes in the future.
Our job is constantly evolving. We're always trying to look for better ways to do things. Sometimes it takes tragic events to really highlight things to make sure that we're training officers the way they need to be trained and holding people accountable.
Rena Nakano, ABC 10 News.
The Board of Supervisors are scheduled to vote on supporting the George Floyd Policing Act on May 4th.
A traffic stop turned into a drug bust in Murrieta. Border agents found 5 bundles of cocaine hidden in the dashboard of a Jeep stopped on the 15 Monday. And they also found another 2 bundles underneath the sweater in the back seat. The 19 pounds of drugs have a street value of $274,000. The driver and the passenger, both U.S. citizens, were arrested.
We're getting a look at some eye-popping cell phones in the North County.
Wow. We have got a tornado in our backyard.
Actually, it was a dust devil that Valley Center resident Julie Pincock captured on Sunday. It's not uncommon for inland areas and deserts to get short-lived dust devils just like that. Meteorologist Angelica Campos is joining us with more on this phenomenon and the showers we're seeing tonight. Angelica.
It's a really great video, and of course, it's very confusing. So what happens is when the sun is shining, and it was very hot over the weekend when it happened, the air warms and then it starts to rise. As it rises, cooler air has to replace it. So then you start getting some turning of the wind, and if you have enough of a shift, then you can get that rotation. Of course, the dust is actually what helps us see the rotation or that vortex as it develops. It is very common, especially in the deserts when it's hot and when it's very, very dry. high, but that happened in Valley Center. A wind advisory has been extended for our deserts until 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, which means the winds will continue to be a concern in that part of the county. But our mountains, even though they're not included, it's getting pretty windy there too. The winds could range from 20 to up to 60 miles per hour. For our mountains, it's going to be a little bit less, most likely 20 to 35 miles per hour. Besides the wind, we still have a chance for a little bit of light rain. In our satellite, you can see those clouds extending into our mountains. And as we switch over to our pinpoint Doppler live, you can almost see just a little bit of moisture in the area, with a few spots seeing a few spotty showers already. We'll see more of it into tomorrow morning, and then a better chance of rain in our 7-day forecast. We'll have more on that coming up.